what seems to be wrong in our Pakistani climatic uh, ecosystem and atmosphere in the terms of development is all the development is based on uh, some calculations done in the past, which were like 50% will be dedicated to residential, 5% will be amenities, 25 will be commercial, and these ratios uh, do change with the area size and how much how how much infrastructure and all those things will come into play. But what really actually is the thing which all these societies which are trying to market these projects, these big billion-dollar investment projects, not billion, I meant in billion rupees, is that they are trying to think that smart living is only when you give green spaces outside but don't bring them back in. Smart living, only some of the architects and engineers knows that the smart living is when you are 100%, it's impossible to be, but when you are 24/7 connected with nature in such a way that you can feel its presence even though you are subconsciously not engaged in it, but you feel its presence. As we are evolutionary bodies coming from our ancestors, we used to be dwelled in nature, and now we have shifted to being uh, pretty modern, and we have taken our roots apart, and that is leading to the mental stress, trauma, and the state of affairs today. So if nature is prioritized in every stage, like if you wherever you sit, you have some plants around your dining area, your lounge. If you don't have a big space, your room, it must feature some plants, and it must feature some water bodies a little bit, like uh, not too much. Like the room, outside the room there can be a garden, and it can, your kitchen can feature a kitchen garden. It things like these strategies, sustainability strategies, they really make up what the essence of natural living is, and that's what lacks in most, not all, or some architects, and I can name a lot of them. uh, Particularly you can watch Ben Jayaga's documentary on Nabila Nazir's house. It was a good one, and it featured what really we need in terms of what good design actually mean in terms of living a good and sustainable life. That's that's one part of how living can be done. But if we, that's a big scale, as that house needed a lot of investment, and mostly these 500 square yards and above projects need a lot of infrastructure and investment. But uh, what but for the small scale housing, uh, particularly 80 square yards, 120 square yards, and those from the low income sector, they can rely on both the community and their own self measures. Just as I explained, these sustainability strategies, trying to go solar and using renewable energy, such things can really make them self sustainable. You don't have to rely on others, and others, by others I mean a government or authorities. They can try to produce their own food, and they can try to sustain themselves in terms of income. That is what uh, good green living is. And how green architecture and green interior design connects, we call it sustainable architecture and sustainable interior design, and sustainable urban design is also a part of it. But sustainable urban design is I have not come across a project which is sustainably urban designed. Sustainable, I want to explain these terms to you. Firstly, the sustainable architecture means the house, the whatever its house, its lot, its dwelling, it must be connected in such a way that context is in its hands. By that I mean it is connected in such a way that it doesn't crop out from the context. It fits in the context, it adapts to it with time, and it reacts to it. That's sustainable architecture. Sustainability then mean you, each space in that dwelling or house or shelter, each space have some sense of belonging with, involved with natural living. By that I mean plants, pets, uh, trying to trying to preserve the natural ecosphere. These simple strategies can create a efficient sustainable interior design. But then again, there is solar studies for that, and so how much the sun comes in annually, and from where the wind will blow, and too much how much extent it can blow in the winter and summer. All these things can matter and do matter. But first, the first steps is functionality, then we go into those details and technical things, they come later. And sustainable urban design is a mixture of both while relying on community involvement at a massive scale. While so we can like say that sustainable urban design is when one person feels a problem in their selves or their household, others can relate to it, they come together to solve it. It's community build, the community, this community is built in such a way that they are united force, and that is what gets a sustainable urban designed housing society or development. So I've coined my expertise and experience on regarding that, and let's hope that we can see some of this type of development soon, just not for the sake of investment, for the sake of better futures of our coming generations.